So, couple just quick announcements. So as of yesterday, customers can now buy Ultimate Portion Fix. So I don't have anyone that signed up yet. I don't know if anyone else does. So I'm not 100% sure if we'll run an Ultimate Portion Fix group. I haven't quite decided that. I would love to start it on April 1st, but I don't have anybody yet. And I'm not, so we'll see. I'm guessing Ashley will run one. So if we have 1 or 2 people, we'll probably use hers. If we all get 1 or 2 people and we have like 10, then maybe we'll do one. But I do definitely plan to start the 21-day fix workouts on April 1st. I'm super pumped for that. So if nothing else, we could always run like a coach group with that, or we could do, I'm sure Ashley will have a coach group with that too. So we can definitely at least do one for the workouts for us. And then we'll see if, does anyone raise your hand if anyone has customers for that yet? Nope, not yet. Okay. And how about the other thing I saw Steph asking, and I have a question too. Has anyone made an email up that you're sending to people about it?
I just saw Melanie has somebody and she has posts made up, she said in her chat.
Oh, awesome. Okay. So you have like a challenge group ready for it, Melanie? Sweet. Okay. Well, we just might do that if you're okay with that. That would be incredible. So anybody, if you have people, let Melanie know. Thank you, Melanie. I appreciate that. But we still have, what is today, the 19th? So we have still 2 weeks to get people into that. So one thing I did want to mention, I have one person that bought Ultimate Portion Fix that is actually, it was a free lead, free paying customer lead, like last November, I think. She just signed up for BOD. And then this week she signed up for Ultimate Portion Fix and Shakeology. How awesome is that? I'm going to get 2 Success Club points from her and her commission just off a free customer. So that is such a big reason to hit SC10 every month. It's like unreal. It's like it comes through in those times you need them. So it doesn't, yeah, I love it. That's happened to me a couple times where I've gotten Success Club points for free people like that. So, okay. So then other than that, the other thing, next Super Saturday is April 13. So I checked again, I think yesterday, to look if there's any event up in Minneapolis. And of course, it's not posted yet, but I guarantee it's going to be there. So I'm not worried anymore like I used to be. So I'm still planning to go up to Minneapolis on April 13. And we can definitely talk about if we want to do an overnight thing or just do a one-up day thing. Tessa looked too, still nothing for Minneapolis today. But so I think kind of going up for the day is fun. I like having, I think the car ride together is fun. And it's kind of nice to not take your whole weekend out to do it, just to kind of take a day into it. So we still get Sunday and Friday night with our families and stuff like that. But if anyone else has thoughts on that, let me know. And then I'm kind of just planning to do like new challenge groups every other week. So we started a new one this week, and I'll probably just plan to do one April 1st, maybe another any program one at this point, unless we have a ton of Ultimate Portion Fix stuff. Okay. So I think that's my announcements. Anybody have any thoughts or questions of announcement stuff? Let's see.
Sorry, McKinley's crying.
Oh, you're fine.
I was just going to say I'll probably come up Friday and stay somewhere.
Oh.
So I don't have to,
Absolutely. And you're totally welcome.
I don't know.
So we can totally.
Okay.
Or if we do some kind of team thing, it would be fun too. So we'll
Sure. Okay.
Marnay, time changes every single time. I think this one time it was at 9 o'clock. The very first one I went to, but most of the other ones I think were in the afternoon. Remind me if I'm wrong, but cool. And Cassie's going up Friday too. So awesome. Yeah. So we'll kind of just keep it in mind. We'll maybe start a thread and kind of talk about what we want to do eventually, but April 13, don't miss it. Ashley always says, if you're serious about making this business work, you have to be at those things. And I totally agree. It just pumps you up again, and it just fires you up for the business. It's fun to be together, fun to do a live workout. It's just a ton of fun. So I'm excited to see how many people we can get up there this time.
Hey, Kim.
Yeah.
So anybody that's going to Summit,
yeah.
we all have hotel rooms yet, or are we still, I mean, do we know what we're doing for that yet? Or
Does anybody have a room booked? I know me and Brenna booked a room like last July or whatever in the Conrad, Indianapolis. She did it. I don't even know where it is or what it is.
because if people want to let me know if we need one, my mom works for Marriott, so I can reach out to her and we can see what we can do. I think last time she looked, I had talked to a couple of people, and I think they were like 160 something a night. Now, don't quote me on that, but like, so maybe after the call, if somebody does need one, if you maybe want to send me a message, we can maybe start working on that.
Ashley, I thought, sorry to butt in, I thought me, you, Cassie, and Sarah
Is that what we're still doing?
talking about doing one. I mean, if you guys are all okay with that.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I was just wanted to touch base because I guess it had been a while since we had
Talked about it. I think since the last
and
Super
some people
Saturday.
in that, right. Well, and some people in our Diamond Thread, Kim, were like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe how expensive hotels are." So I was like, "Oh no."
Ours is the one Brenna have is like $250 a night, so 160 sounds good.
Okay. Okay. So I will look into that then, and I will reach out to you guys and see what we can do.
Too, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, okay.
So, all right.
Yeah. The more the merrier. So thanks, guys.
Only a few months away. Good. All right. So if no one else has anything else they want to talk about, make sure everyone else is good there. Okay. So I wanted to talk about objections tonight. Okay. Because I feel like this is a huge area. It's an area that we like freak out about a lot when people raise objections. It kind of, I know my initial response to it is like, oh my gosh, like, what am I going to say? I'm going to say the wrong thing. Crap. They're like annoyed by me, or they're trying to find a way around it. So I kind of get a negative response, but I do think it's a huge thing of when you can learn to overcome objections and not shy away from them. I really feel like that's kind of a tipping point for coaches where they start to roll a little bit more. And they don't just kind of back down from everything, but they really start like taking more ownership of it too. So I do think it's huge for a business. I've heard before that the number one reason that like coaches actually end up quitting is because they get so many objections, they don't know what to do with them, and they kind of coil back and they don't have that confidence to go against them, right? And I totally can see that. I mean, I can see that objections can kind of make people shy away from it. So number one thing I want everybody to know is objections are normal and everybody gets them. Okay. So whether you've been a coach for one day or you're a top 10 coach for the last 5 years, you're going to get objections. Everybody gets them. They're normal and they're expected. So when you go into a conversation, expect an objection. That is what 99% of conversations, what happens with 99% of them. Okay. So they're not bad. They don't reflect anything about who you are, what you're posting, how long you've been a coach, what you're saying, what our products are. It has nothing to do with that. The thing is, when someone is thinking about paying money for something, it's our initial knee-jerk response to kind of, think about it, see if it fits what we want, have objections, have questions. That's normal. That's normal for all of us. Think about like when you're walking through a store and you see something, you're like, oh, I need that. And you throw it in your cart. And then later you're like, do I really need that? Like, I could probably buy this that's cheaper. I could probably skip that for now. And like, we all do it everywhere we go. So it's not a bad thing that people are asking questions and raising objections. That is normal. We all do it. You guys probably did it too. So look back in your conversations with me, like way back when, and see like when we initially started having conversations, did you ask me questions? Did you give me objections? What did I say? It's everybody has them. I think my objections for my biggest things were posting on social media, and I was scared. My biggest question for Ashley was, how do you feel about putting London all over social media? That was the biggest thing that freaked me out. So, I mean, I had them too. We all do. So it's not a bad thing. And most people that are eventually your customers or your coaches are going to have objections. All right. So now that we know it's normal, The other thing about it is once you start to combat objections and you learn how to work around them, it really starts to build your confidence. You're not scared to go into conversations. You're not scared when that conversation is leading up to saying, okay, here's the price. You're not scared. You're ready to do it because you've gone into those conversations and you've been able to fight those objections before. So the biggest things I think that are important with going into objections, number one is your mindset, which how often do we talk about that with any topic we talk about? It is so important. And that's why personal development is so important, because your mindset is huge. I mean, our mindset tells us if we're going to have a good workout or not, if we're going to stop a workout early or not, if we're going to reach out to 5 new people today or not. Like, our mindset is huge, and it's the same thing with objections. So when you go into a conversation, know that there's 3 outcomes, right? So you're either going to get a, yeah, I'd love to, and have no questions, which rarely happens. I don't think I've really ever had that happen. Or 2, they're going to ask you questions about it, maybe give you some objections, and they might say, now's not a good time, maybe later. Great. Those are awesome because they'll go in your follow-up list, and that's where most of our customers eventually come from, is the follow-up list. And then the third thing is they might just say, absolutely not. This is nothing I want a part of. And you can always ask for a referral, right? So, okay, sorry that this isn't for you. Do you have anyone in your life that maybe would benefit from something like this? You can always still ask them for a referral. So after mindset, the other thing that's really important to know and just be aware of when you go into conversations talking about objections is what you're projecting on them. So it's very normal as coaches, like it's very normal to be self-conscious of like what we're saying and if we're saying the right thing and if we're, how we're saying things and all that kind of stuff. It's super, super normal. But what happens is we often project that onto people and it comes out in our words. So if we go into a conversation with someone and we're like, oh, they're going to think it's too expensive. They're in school. They don't have the money for it. Or they just started a new job and they don't have money, or they have 5 kids and they don't have time for this, or whatever you think it is that they're going to say no. If you're already thinking that in your head, you are putting that into your words. Like the way you talk is coming out with that. Or another one I often think is, I don't want to, like if I just send this hey girl message and we're chatting and then I ask them to join me later, they're going to think I only wanted them for their money, and they don't think they're going to think that's the only reason I reached out to them. So that's one thing I feel like I project a lot. So 2 things that help you get into a better mindset to project better. Number 1 is remember everything you love about this. Like we know in so many ways this has changed our life, like physically, emotionally, financially, like all the benefits this does for the people we surround ourselves with, how awesome our Shakeology makes us feel, all of that. We know how awesome it is. So put that forefront into your mind, even list it out. And before you send invites or before you go to messages, read through that and just remember what this has done for you, because it's a lot easier to talk about it then. And another thing sometimes I'll do is just put on some music I like that gets me pumped up, dance around a little bit, and just getting those endorphins going, or doing like a 10-minute ab workout or something like that. Getting those endorphins going just gets me in such a better mindset to talk to people. Like I think I've said it before, is I often do my invites in the morning right after I work out, because that's the best. I just feel so good after that. So make sure you're in that good mindset and that good place. The other thing with objections is it's often when people have objections, it's usually the fear that they have or insecurities they have about themselves that they're trying to protect. So you have to help them see the value in what we have. By combating their objections, both publicly and privately. All right. So this is one of my favorite things to do. When you get objections, that's your post ideas. That's how you know good things to post about that are really going to hit people's pain points. So let's say you got objections about, I can't do this right now because we've all been sick for that's the one I'm getting all the time is, we all have the flu, we're all sick, I just can't think about that right now, or whatever. So then let's say, how many people here did not have a sick kid this winter or something like that, or you yourself were sick or something? There you go. So then you start doing posts about, look at, these are my results, and we're sick this winter and we had to stay, whatever. We had this many days home because we were sick for this. And talk about it. Or if you're getting objections about Shakeology, take an awesome picture with your beautiful shake and talk about what it's done for you. Or if you're getting objections about cost, tell them how you made it work. So, or publicly do a post about how you saved up your money for a month, or you used your birthday money, or you sold a couple things to do it, or you went out to eat twice less that month to pay for it, or what was it that you kind of helped pay for it. So that's another thing to do. One thing I do like to mention, or do want to mention, when you do publicly post about objections, don't like wag your finger at people, right? So don't be like, oh, I've been getting all these objections lately about people don't have time. I don't want to hear that. Like, I'm busy. This person's busy. We make it. Don't do it that way. Don't do it like pointed at people, but instead somehow make it on yourself. Like, I used to think I didn't have time to work out. Like, I have this many kids, I work full time, or I go to class this, I'm full-time student, I work side job, or whatever it is. Tell how busy you are and be like, I didn't think I had time for this, but 20 minutes a day, I can wake up 20 minutes early and make it happen. Or I can do it 20 minutes over my lunch hour, or whatever it is, but show them how you do it. So don't necessarily point it at people and be like, oh, someone gave me this objection today, or I hear all the time I don't have the money for this. But put it on yourself and do it kind of like a feel, felt, found. So I felt like I didn't have the time either. I didn't have the money, but I decided to, and now it's changed my life, that type of thing. So really, when you get objections, write them down, and those are your post ideas, okay? Let's see. Okay, so then, answer their objection and follow up with them. And like we've said before, it takes a solid 7 to 10 times of people hearing it and talking to you before they're going to say yes. And also, let's see, I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. So the biggest thing is you want to develop resilience, because you're going to get them from every single person, and it's okay. Go at them strong, go at them with confidence, and you will develop confidence and resilience, and they won't hurt you anymore. And then you'll feel better about them. So I wanted to kind of go over some like common objections that people will give you. Okay. So the first common objection you hear is nothing, the unspoken objection. It's where you give them an invite or talk to them. You can see they read it and then they never said anything back, right? Or you're talking to them for a while and all of a sudden they ghost you. And it's like, what? Okay. So that is often them protecting themselves. They're either protecting their like fear of failure or fear of something, or insecurity that they don't have the money, or that they don't think they have the time. They're trying to protect themselves and they're scared, is basically kind of what that is. So the way you need to kind of go around it is to make them feel safe. So you want to make it not feel like you're coming at them, but you want to kind of make them feel safe. So one thing I will often do, if like I've been talking to someone and then they ghost me and I've sent them like 3 or 4 messages in a row, or 3 or 4 invites, and they have not responded. Now I don't do this to someone who's never responded. Honestly, if someone doesn't respond to me after, I think I usually will do like 3 messages. And if someone doesn't respond ever, I've never talked to them, I don't message them again, but maybe I'll like comment on their posts and stuff like that on social media, but I won't directly message them unless I hear from them at some point. Now, if I've talked to someone in the past and they haven't, now all of a sudden they're not responding, those people I do keep following up with. So those people, what I do is I often will say like, hey lady, or hey girl, or hey, whatever their name is. I know you were really excited about this for a while and we had talked about you joining, but I just wanted to check in and see if you're still interested since I haven't heard from you. What did I say? If not, no worries, but just let me know if there's something I said wrong, or if I offended you in some way, or if I said something, or if I could have said something differently, so that, I just want to make sure I do it better the next time, is something like that. So I'll often I put it on myself, right? So like, I know you're interested, but I haven't heard from you again. Is this something you're still interested in? No worries if you're not, but I just making sure I didn't say something wrong or offend you. Everybody responds. Like everybody responds to that one because they feel bad. They think that they're hurting, you know what I mean? They feel bad, and everybody responds. It doesn't mean they turn around and they're interested, but they will at least respond and give you an objection then, like legitimately tell you why they didn't want to. Or they'll be like, oh, sorry, no, I just got really busy and I forgot to respond. The thing we have to remember too is like everybody's first priority in life is not to respond to their Facebook messages, right? How many times have you like read a message and then you forget to respond and then it goes to the bottom of your messages and that happens. And this is our business. That's not their it's not like their live. It's not, Facebook Messenger is not like as much to them as it is to us. So it happens. It happens when they just read it and they go away. So, but taking the pressure off of them and putting it more on yourself, you will hear from them again. So try that one because at least then you can get a legit response from them. So the next response you'll often get is an excuse. So that's where people say, oh, I don't have the time. I don't have the money. It's a scam, those types of things. So often this is really just them, again, protecting themselves. They want to protect either their money or they want to protect their fears or insecurities about themselves somehow. So this is when you really have to build a trust with them on social media. So that's where you're going to be like publicly busting those objections, right? And then by them reading them, that's how you're kind of busting those objections better. All right. So often like show how you found value, show how you like your Shakeology, talk about your experience. So show like your own, where you being proof of the product, show that, or show success of other team members, just like we do every Tuesday. That's a huge part of this one. The next excuse you'll hear sometimes is the malicious objection. Which I don't feel like I get those so much, but I know some people have, where people are like really rude about it, or they just come off very upset or angry, or like something about feels very, I don't know. I'm always get really scared of those, right? I'm thankful I don't get them often, but they do happen. And the biggest thing you have to know is it is never, ever, ever, ever about you or your products or your workouts or your company or anything like that. It is always about them. So it is something in them that they're struggling with, that they've seen you overcome, or they see you overcoming, and that's what they're struggling with. And that's what they're so defensive against. So it's not you at all. And the way I have heard other people talk about overcoming this one is to ask about how they're feeling. So this is where you don't want to talk about yourself a ton, right? Like they don't want to hear about how awesome it's making you feel. They don't want to hear about how it's changed your whole life, and they don't want to, because that's not how they're feeling. So ask them about like how, just things in their life, how they're feeling, how life's going, all of that kind of stuff. And then they'll often come out with some of those things eventually, not always right away. The subjection objection. What is that one all about? Oh yeah. So the subjection objection is when people be like, oh, that's great for you. I'm so glad that's working for you. That would never work for me. I could never do that. And then again, this is probably because you're maybe talking too much about you. So one thing, that I've said it before, but Brandon as a salesman, he always says is you need to get the person talking. You don't want to do all the talking, or it's not going in the right direction. So that's when you need to flip it more and be asking more about their health and fitness journey and what they've done in the past and what has worked and what hasn't and what their goals are, and really trying to more flatter them, and not in a fake way. But flattering is an important part of conversations, only to build that trust. But I think of that like, you know what? I don't actually really like that word flatter, because it feels fake to me. It's like, and I don't like that. But I think about like even what I do at work as a PA. When I go into the room and meet a new patient, I ask about them first, right? I'm always like, oh, are you from Sioux Falls? Or what do you do for work? Or I love your yoga pants. Where'd you get them? Like, that's just what you do in conversations with new people. So that's what we're doing here. Like, you do flatter them. You say something nice about. It's just a natural part of a conversation. It's not fake, and it's not us trying to get them to be friends so that they join us. It's just how you meet new people. Like, that's just how we talk. So that's a big part about that one. If they're saying like, oh yeah, that's great for you, but it's not going to work for me. So start talking about them. And the other one, I really like this one, the show off objection, which I get from some people like, oh, I've tried Beachbody in the past. That doesn't work for me. Or, oh, I've had a friend do 21-day fix and I don't like the shakes. And, oh, I know this about this program and this about this program. And they act like they know everything about what we do. So what you really want to do to get over this one is to make them feel important and make them feel like they do know everything and be like, oh my gosh, you are so knowledgeable about this. Have you ever thought about being a coach yourself, right? Like they know everything about it, and see if that's something that's a good coaching invite that way. So the biggest things with objection is just be in control of the conversation by asking questions. You want to be the one that's putting the questions in their court, because then they're going to talk themselves into it, okay? And then flattery and being genuine about it, nothing fake, but really genuinely finding something that you connect with them and that you like about what they're doing. And then just making them feel important. We all like to feel important. We all like to talk about ourselves. That's just the way it is. So that's what we like to do for our customers too. So Tessa, I see your question. What if they continue to vote on your polls and they've just never responded?
This one girl, she will always vote on my polls, and like they're always for like being added to like more information about like challenge groups or whatever. I think they're mostly all like challenge groups, but she never like she's never responded to me once.
Okay.
But I always message her because I feel like, well, and then like one of the last times I messaged her, I was like, oh, just let me know, maybe you like accidentally clicked it or whatever, and or you know, and she never said anything, so I don't know.
Yeah, so I know, and which does happen, they accidentally clicked it, but they won't accidentally click it every time, right? So I have had some people, I can't say I have that with polls, but I've had before where people, I mean, they just watch every single one of your stories all the time. Like I have this one girl, she's always the first person to watch my story every time. And she didn't respond to me for like ever. I don't remember what I finally said that she responded to me to, but at some point, what I do with those people is I put them on like those are the people I comment on their posts as often as I can to just like stay in them and try to develop a public relationship with them. So if they're too scared to talk with me privately or something, but that way I at least let them know like I'm interested in your life. Like I do want to legitimately talk with you. So that's what I try to do, because there's definitely those people that just don't ever reply. So I just try to comment on their posts, watch their stories, comment on their stories, stuff like that. Anyone else have like response to that? Someone that they've dealt with that they've had success with? Or other questions? I'm going to try really hard. I have this PDF thing of just common objections, so I'm going to try really hard to figure out how to download it and post it in our page. But it may take me a while. But I think, do you guys remember in the New Coach Academy, is there common objections? Does anyone remember that?
Yeah, I think I have one on my tribe, maybe, that obviously came from Good Vibe Tribe somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking so too, because I know right away I saved one way early on too.
Yeah.
Well, and I think the Slay Squad just gave us a couple too, didn't they?
Nice.
Oh yeah, they probably have a units or something.
I know in like the New Coach Kickstart, did you guys join that group with the Dynasty?
Yep.
I know there's a
I
whole
don't know.
file on those, so that's what
I feel like I'm in so many groups.
I know.
I just like,
I know. That's how I feel about all those groups. Do what you can.
Oh yeah. So
just like always, it's very overwhelming, but do what you can. I know they have like new groups starting every other week for something. I'm like, holy smokes. How about other questions about objections? I think it'd be kind of fun. I don't know what you guys think if we start a like thread in our page about like, so if you get an objection and post it in our page, and then we can kind of see what common objections people are all getting, or if you combat that objection and it worked out positively for you, share it so that we can kind of see what's worked for you. I think that would be kind of nice just so other people can use those. But I really think it's a huge part of developing coach confidence is really figuring out how to combat objections. Oh, one other thing I did want to say. So the first time I ever heard a talk on objections was last year at Summit. They did a really good training on it. And that was the first time I ever didn't get scared of objections. Like for an entire year of coaching, I was terrified when I got objections. And it was finally after that, I was like, oh, they're normal. It's just like a fun challenge. You got to figure your way around it. It's okay. And the biggest thing I learned is that right away, when I get an objection, my very first is like, oh, that's a no, shoot. And I immediately throw my hands up and I was done. And I literally would say, sounds good, no worries, like I understand, and that's it. Like that's all I would do, right? So, I mean, all of those people, I didn't even like follow up with or anything. Like they had an objection, they said no, I was done with it. And at Summit, the biggest thing I took away was, well, the fact that they're normal. So instead now I will never be like, oh, sounds good, that's okay, or no worries, I understand. I will never say that. I'll immediately go into, I totally can relate to what you're feeling because I felt the same way. And then I'll tell like if it's about Shakeology, I'll be like, I totally understand, or, you know, I understand why you are hesitant about that because I felt the same way at the beginning. I've never been a shake person. I've never liked any shakes I've tried, and I've always wanted to eat all my food, but I decided, whatever, I'll give it a try for a month and see, and this is what I found. So I don't even say, it's okay, no worries. I completely just go straight into combating the objection. And that changed a lot of conversations for me, because I think once people read that line, even if I did try to combat it a little bit, they were already like, oh, she's okay with that, moving on. They didn't even care to see what I had to say about it because they thought I was checked out of it too. So don't just go in and be like, oh, sure, that's okay. Just go straight into, yeah, I felt the same way, but here's how I got my way around it, whatever. Feel, felt, found. All right, that changed a lot of conversations for me.
Okay, then I have one quick question.
Yeah.
So the people that I did say that, because I hate pushing things on people.
Totally.
Yeah. If they said that to you originally, do you go back to them later? Like now that I go through some follow-up people, do you restart a conversation?
Yeah, absolutely you could. So it depends so it kind of depends on like I'm just trying to think of a good example of how you could do that. So I would, some of those people, so some people early on that I gave like coaching invites to that were horrible, pathetic coaching invites. I went back like after Super Saturday, I'd be like, oh my gosh, I had so much fun. And I was like, and I'd say stuff like, I know I kind of reached out to you about this before, but I don't even know if I fully understood it myself. But the longer I've been in it, this is more what I've noticed. So you could be, if it was originally about Shakeology, you can be like, I know you were nervous about this before, but honestly, the more months I've been drinking this, it is so incredible. Like, would you reconsider trying it for a month or something like that? You can just be like, I didn't really fully even understand it myself at the beginning, but now that I've been doing it longer, this is what it's done for me. So maybe something like that. Anybody else have ideas on that or thoughts? I think the biggest thing is just relating to people, like just trying to just relate to where they're at and trying to like, how would you feel if you were in their shoes and how would you find a way around it? All right. Well, if that's it, we can call it a night. Take a picture quick. Yeah, there's the phones. I love it. All right. Awesome. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. As always, it always means so, so much to me. So I hope you have a wonderful night. And, oh, one last thing. Do you guys want to do like Zoom workouts ever? Is that like, I was thinking about maybe making Thursday morning Zoom workout time. And like,
Are you ready to do that again, Kim?
yeah, I guess that's true. I should watch out. Huh? As long as it's not Transform 20 and I'm not on something that I can fall off of.
I'm so glad it wasn't a major pain.
Oh, how dumb. Yeah, but I think Thursday mornings would be fun. And if, I mean, obviously I'm going to post a link at like 4:45, but if you guys, if there's a couple of you that always work out at like 9 o'clock and you want to post your own Zoom link in our team page, that's awesome too. I think it'd be kind of fun to do once in a while. All right. So I'll post a link for Thursday. All right. Otherwise, have a good rest of your week, guys. See ya.